Hello and welcome to the College Football Mafia Network Big Freakin' Friday show. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown. With me are my two partners that decided to show up on a Friday night. I really appreciate it. That would be Wild Ute and Moen. How we doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good. Moen,
Dude,
why don't you go?
absolutely fantastic too.
Absolutely fantastic.
Moen, why don't you give everybody an update about where you're at?
I have no cancer in my left thyroid. I have no left thyroid now, but it wasn't cancer. It was something completely different that looked like cancer. I get to keep my right thyroid. So
Right on.
I don't have to go through any more surgeries on my thyroid for right now.
Well, lots of prayers. I know a lot of people were pulling for you.
Yes.
And that's really important. I hope everybody understands. We really appreciate that support. And I believe in good thoughts return good things. So
yes, sir.
We're very grateful that that's where we're at today.
Very good Friday.
Very good Friday. That's right. It is Good Friday. Want to also tip our hat to Easter that's coming up. Everybody should be doing something with their family or friends or something to just celebrate this time of year. Going on to Easter is really important for a lot of people. And we certainly support that around here. As we get going, let me just make sure everybody's doing some business with us. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you following us all on Twitter. It's really important that you turn on your notifications so people know, or when our shows are going to come on, and we are doing some on-demand stuff now too. So we really appreciate all the support we got, and we're going to continue to bring those things to you guys. As well, we want to be sure that everybody knows we are fully membership-driven, family-oriented, family as in mafia family-oriented group, and I want to encourage everybody to consider joining us in the Big 12 Mafia family. Let me show you the video on how to do that, and then we'll go to our next thing.
Want to become a member of the College Football Mafia family? Simply select the Join button from our homepage. There are several options with their own unique benefits to choose from. You can also set yourself to auto-accept gifted membership by selecting the gift settings options as shown.
I also want to reinforce that you can't sign up as a member on your cell phone for some reason. I don't know why. I've reached out to YouTube to see if there's a way that you can do that on your phone. But right now, as far as I know, the only way you get that join button is on the internet or on your computer. So if you have questions about that, send any of us a DM. We can walk you through it. But I don't know why it doesn't work on cell phones, but I just haven't seen it work yet. All right. Let's just start. It's Big Freakin' Friday. We're going to be having some fun tonight, going over lots of topics. First of all, let's go with top of mind. What's going on right now with you, Ute?
Yeah, there's been so much stuff that's happened over the last few days. The Brett Yormark interview yesterday was awesome. Gave us a lot of tidbits about where the Big 12's going. His thinking about the Big 12, so it's awesome. The rumor mill's in full gear today with the Florida State going independent. Conversation that we're going to have and we're going to socialize right here. And then for just a little bit of treat for anyone out there watching here, our community, I've prepped a little bit of a Notre Dame financial information here that you'll want to see. Never seen anybody else put something out like this before, so it might be interesting to take a look at.
Very good. Thank you, Ute. I appreciate that. How about you, Moen? Besides your health scare is now resolved, what are you kind of thinking going into this weekend?
Oh, waiting and waiting and waiting. We've got 10 days until April 9th. We're supposed to hear something before April 9th. We just don't know when we're going to hear it. We just know it's before April 9th.
Wait, give it a little bit more background on that, Moen.
That's the Mecklenburg County.
Yep.
He wants to put he's going to have his ruling before the date for Florida State in the county in Florida.
Which is April 9th.
Which is April 9th.
Yeah.
Which is 10 days from today. So we've got somewhere in that 10 days. We know it's not going to be this weekend, obviously. Probably won't be Monday. So Tuesday through Friday of next week, I think one of those days is when it's going to pop.
Completely agree. I think it's lots of news going on. You know, when we started the show last year, you and I, we had a conversation about kind of what are we going to do, right? What are we going to do with our time? What are we going to cover to entertain people? And that's really changed over the year. I think we've done a lot of adjustments following different stories. And now at this point, I couldn't be more proud of all the stuff that we've covered. And we're really good that everybody is here with us tonight to go through that. And we look forward to people joining later. Please encourage other people that you know. We're covering the stories that you guys want us to cover. Don't hesitate to send us story ideas. Tell us if you think there's things we need to change on the shows. But there's a lot of stuff going on here, and we really appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with. Do you want to start with your presentation, Ute, or do you want to go?
You know what? Yeah, let's start with the Georgia Tech.
Okay.
Shout out to everybody. It's Friday. It's a big freaking Friday show. So
I'm
cheers
still
to
on
everybody out there.
antibiotics. I can't Georgia Tech yet.
Oh man.
Oh no. Oh, that's all right. All right. Go ahead, you.
Yeah, so let's pop this up. All right, here we go. So a lot of chatter this week about Notre Dame from different sources. And there was pushback from Tuesday's show from some a Notre Dame podcast and many Notre Dame fans about how Notre Dame will never, never, never join the Big Ten, and that it doesn't make any sense, that we should respect the cultural significance of Notre Dame being an independent, which is okay. You might like that, you might not. I wanted to dig in a little bit more because we talk about dollar figures a lot of times, but nobody's actually put them out, like what like Notre Dame's financials look like historically and what they look like going forward compared to the Big Ten. So wanted to throw some information together here, as you can see on the screen here. So what you're seeing is from the equity and athletics data analysis page. And really what that is a government website that all schools, even private schools, have to report their financials through. So this was as of fiscal year end 6 of 2022. And it lays out all the football related revenue from Notre Dame. And then I also grabbed a few test subjects too in the Big Ten: Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State, to stack them up versus. You can see where the X is, the football column here. That's how much revenue Notre Dame generated at fiscal year end 6 of 2022. So that was the year they had $137 million in football related revenues. And if you compare that to Ohio State was 109, Michigan was 131, and Penn State was 107. You can also see how much basketball revenue Notre Dame is generating, and that's a little over $10 million, like around 11 million right here. So a little lower than the Big Ten counterparts. So this is all historical. This is all based on 2022 information and considering prior contracts, right?
Right.
Let's take a look now at what the new reality of Notre Dame is. Let's go forward here.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. So Notre Dame's conundrum. Here's the outline of the former deals, and this is the media rights component of the former deals that were in place. So Notre Dame's total revenues included other things like ticket sales and licensing and ad revenue. But if you're just looking at the media rights component, right here is really the math on that. So formerly, Notre Dame was getting around $22 million per year in annual media rights. And that's from NBC. And then also $5 million in college football payouts, which is the amount that all the P5 schools were getting in Notre Dame under the former CFPD. And that nets out to about $27 million. So when you total that up for Notre Dame, they were getting $27 million total revenue per year. On the other hand, the Big Ten in the former contract was making about $31 million in annual media distributions, with that $5 million college football payout for about $36 million. So you can see under the former deals that the Big Ten was making more on the media rights front than Notre Dame, but it wasn't substantially more here. So we're looking at about $36 million per Big Ten school. So that's Michigan, Ohio State, everybody, including Indiana and Purdue, versus Notre Dame's 27. So Notre Dame was making about 75% of what a Big Ten school is making. And if you subtract 36 minus 27, there's about a $9 million a year difference between what a Big Ten school was making and what Notre Dame was making. So let that just marinate for a second. Okay. $9 million difference under the former deals on the media rights agreements. Okay. Let's move forward. All right, here we go. So here's the new reality for the Irish. Okay, so the new estimated media rights deal, nobody knows this figure exactly, but it's said to be around $50 million per year for Notre Dame with NBC.
That
And
covers all the home games, right? Isn't that like 7 home games?
yeah, and like
Okay.
nobody, it's actually an estimated figure, probably in ballpark there. It might be a little lower, it might be just a little bit higher, but that's the estimate. That's where all the smoke was, around 50 million bucks.
Okay.
Annual college football playoff money, 12 million bucks. That's what Notre Dame's going to get. So each year, Notre Dame from their media rights is going to get about $62 million. Okay. So on the Big Ten side, under that massive new TV deal signed with the Big Ten schools, each one of them, including in Indiana, Wisconsin, Purdue, everybody in Michigan, Ohio State, $72 million per year. That's right. $72 million per year plus $21 million in CFP distributions for a whopping $93 million freaking dollars a year.
Jeez.
That each Big Ten school is going to get. So you look at now this new reality of Notre Dame. If you're looking at the difference per year, it's $31 million versus the prior world where Notre Dame was only down about $9 million in media rights. Every year, in other words, every year Notre Dame is going to, on the media front, going to be down $31 million compared to your Indianas and Purdue's, not just your Ohio States and the media rights front. So the Big Ten is actually yielding in media rights about 150% of the revenue payout in the media world that Notre Dame is. So when we're talking about why Notre Dame should consider moving to the Big Ten, is because of the financial reality with these media contracts here. This $31 million gap per year, every year, is going to be very difficult to overcome for the Irish. So this is the new reality. It's not like the old reality. It's much worse. And if we're moving to an employment-based model, the Irish, they're in big trouble here if they want to compete with the Big Ten.
What do you think,
What
Moen?
do you guys think of that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's not shocking to me. I mean, how valuable is your independence? Is it really worth 31 million, 62 million, 93 million? I mean, how long can you go losing that, and especially if you are having to pay players as employees? If it's even a conference model, you're not going to compete with a conference payout for players.
Yeah. So
Notre Dame's not going to.
let's talk about that. So the pay for play model that we have to establish what the student athletes are going to be getting and what their responsibilities are to receive that money. I think that's still going to stay a mess for a while. I don't see any legislation it being discussed to solve that. So it's going to come down to how these legal, all these legal charges are going and where we end up with the lawsuits. So paying players will absolutely break the system if there's this much of a disparity. There's nobody that really can deny that, right? Unless they put in a pay scale, unless they put in like a maximum that each team can spend. If there's no limits, what you just put up here will break the system.
Well, there will be limits. I think the Big Ten and the SEC are going to set the limits. They're not going to bid against each other.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm not
Yeah.
disagreeing
So
with that
there's
at all.
the problem's going to be for people like the Big 12, the ACC, Notre Dame. They're going to have less resources to compete with if they price it. Say they slice out one portion of that media deal to pay players and revenue sports. A portion
Right.
of the Big Ten media deal is what, close to 87 million. What's a portion of the Big 12's media deal? It's going to be significantly less. So, I don't know if the Big 12 or Brett Yormark can get together with the Big 10 and the SEC, but it would be best if they all played from the same field, but that's not necessarily what's going to happen.
We got a comment here from Becky, who's one of our contributors. Good to see you, Becky. Glad to have you here tonight. She says the best thing for college sports is a collective bargaining agreement with the athletes. Do you guys agree with that?
About it.
Yeah.
That needs to happen. That you still need to initiate some salary caps though,
Right.
to protect quality.
I
Competitiveness.
agree with you, but you and I are in a subservient position compared to the Big Ten and the SEC. So
Yeah.
they probably want one too, but it might be 50% more than Utah and BYU can afford.
Yeah. It's
So
really just mind blowing going back to like that last slide there.
yeah,
That
let me bring it back up.
67%. Like that's just nuts to me. That 67% Notre Dame and their mighty big brand and everything else, like 67% of what a Big Ten team's making. And like we're not even talking about just the upper echelon media
Right.
rights. That's shocking. And that's gonna have an impact, guys. Like that's gonna have an impact. This is why Notre Dame will bend the knee right here. And the only reason that they will. They do not want to. It's very clear they don't want to. Irish fans push back a lot. Totally understand why, but bridge that $31 million if you don't want to take a knee. Right. That's the problem right there for Notre Dame and the Big 12 and the ACC and everybody else is that gap. That's the gap we're talking about right there for the Big 10. The Notre Dame even.
So let's talk about the Notre Dame bend the knee thing, right? We've talked about that for a long time. It was a joke originally last fall. Moen's been saying it for over a year. That may be the case that everybody thinks they're going to give in, but if you listen to that, what's the new AD's name, Moen?
Matt Bevacqua.
Bevacqua, that's what it was. Yeah. He couldn't have been more emphatic about them wanting to stay independent. It sounded to me like he doesn't even really care if they don't get that by not winning a conference. And I don't know that they will.
What is Notre Dame getting out of being independent? Like in today's world, what are they getting?
Well,
are they building the brand greater than like in the past? Like what's the upside?
They're still being treated like a conference unto themselves.
Right. They get
in the voting and everything else.
They don't share their payout, and if they make the college football playoff, they make more money.
Windfall.
They make more money than the teams in the ACC do. Think about that. They're a partial member of the ACC, and the ACC has walked themselves into the position that Notre Dame, a partial member, gets more college football playoff revenue than they do. And they haven't won anything since 1988.
Yeah,
that's right. I try and tell Clemson, who's won 2 in the last 6 years, Florida State, who won 1 with Jameis Winston. You've had Clemson compete for more. I believe Notre Dame's competed for 2 national titles in that time and got blown out in both instances. So it's hard to swallow for if I was the ACC, which if you want to go to the members only section, I did a little bit of a ranting on Notre Dame.
Yeah, let me bring that up. Give me 1 second, Moment. Let me bring that up.
It is not safe for work, so please don't play it.
Okay, but we're a not safe for work channel according to YouTube. All right, let me bring this up. So now, first, Rock Chalk, I'll get back to your comment. Let me mark that really quick. Give me 1 second. Rock Chalk, I got to mark his comment. Okay. All right, Moen, tell everybody what they're looking at here.
This is our members only section. We did release, since Notre Dame, all this information about Notre Dame. We released Kuz's video the other day, so you can now see that publicly. We don't ever keep things permanently locked behind paywalls. We usually only have them up there for about 2 weeks, and then they become public. Moen Rants, that's my thing. That's my adios to Gentleman Jack Swarbrick, the former AD of Notre Dame. And trust me, I think my next episode is going to be a hello to the new AD at Notre Dame, Matt Bevacqua.
Very good. And then why don't you tell everybody what's going on with these members only and also regular Wild Ute University videos?
Yeah, and the members have chosen Louisville. We'll test Louisville's fit to the Big 12 conference next based on what the members decided in a member poll. That's being researched right now, but these historical videos are all about how candidates stack rank in either the Big 10 or the Big 12. And we take a deep dive based on models we've developed, based on criteria that we know is important. So just take a look at any of those videos if you haven't seen the Wild Ute University videos.
And really quick, I want to just show everybody, you see this right here. This is where our members voted to pick the next video. So we're not dictating these to you guys. We're not waiting, but hoping you guys will tell us what you want us to cover next. So if Louisville's next, we're gonna have to do another poll to see who follows, right? You?
That's right. That is
All
right.
right. All right. Well, we won't get ahead of ourselves. Just so everybody knows, these other videos are all unlocked, and they're still relevant today. Miami to the Big Ten, North Carolina to the Big Ten, Clemson to the Big Ten, Florida State to the Big Ten, and lastly, the private equity bit that you broke down how private equity could be used in college athletics right now. I would encourage everybody to go. It's a little 101 course on finance, and I think I really appreciate that he put the time into that.
Promise you that you won't find a more clear video on how private equity work than that one. I know that's not one of our more popular videos, but like, good luck finding something else. Like, that's how it's going to work, guys. As far as private equity involvement.
Let me get to some comments here. By the way, it is Big Freakin' Friday, so we're waiting for you guys to give us good comments. Obviously, if you want us to read them for sure, make it a super chat. If you just want to become a member, you hit the join button right on the College Football Mafia main page, and that'll walk you through the different membership options. All the members get access to the Wild Ute University Moan Rants and Koo's Corner locked videos. And otherwise, leave a regular comment, and we might pull it. I always defer to members first, just so everybody knows. All right, first I wanted to bring this one up because it was right when we were talking about it. Rock Chalk 94, one of our valued long-term members, says Irish fans will pay to avoid conferences.
Good.
I kind of agree with that. Good. I think they would subsidize them like SMU.
Empty those pocketbooks, gentlemen.
I really think that could happen.
Are you going to pay the salary of them employees too? Let's go ahead and let them pay the salaries as well.
I'm just telling you what I think Notre Dame wants.
I'm just telling you that if they're going to pay, they can pay the salary.
All right, what do you think, you?
Man, I think that the Irish will pay to avoid a conference up to a certain level. And that level historically has been $9 million, right? We just saw that. $9 million has been like the difference between what the Big Ten teams were making and Notre Dame, essentially. And now that is $31 million. That got a lot more expensive. And I don't think they're going to be paying that much. I don't think $31 million, like over 3.5 years, that's $100 million, guys.
Right.
Like it's not insignificant amounts of money anymore. You just can't afford it. No, they're going to bend the knee because of this. 100%. Right. I'm telling you guys, like, there's just no way.
Nobody's disagreeing with you, Ute. I think we're just.
I mean, there's a lot of like, it's just crazy. The Irish fans push back on this. Like, I'm just shocked. Like, and you try to talk, like, hey, tell me how like the money works, and like nobody can respond. There's no response.
I just don't think they work different. I don't know. Becky Go Huskies, also one of our contributors and a member, for $1.99 says that jersey is fire. Yes, I am wearing my Michael Penix jersey. Guy is a stud. He could go top 5 in the draft. He ran a 4.47 the other day. He's climbing the boards. I want the Seahawks to get him, but I don't think there's going to be enough money in there. There's no way they can trade up to get to that spot, I don't think. What do you guys think about Michael Penix and do you guys follow the NFL draft? And
combine? I actually, I don't know if you guys, I sent the video. You would love this video. A fan sent me a video about how recruiting classes pan out in the draft picks.
I did see that. Yes.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
It's an incredible video. We'll have to link it. We'll have to put it up there. We'll put it up on a tweet or something, guys. But a fan sent it to me, and I watched it, and I was just gobsmacked. So yeah. It's surprising how much recruiting rankings matter in college football for winning,
right? But
matter hardly ever in the NFL.
And isn't that funny? Because you get football players that are at Marshall or at an HBCU, right? That maybe Jackson State. Yet they have no publicity at all, and they're in the top 15 in the draft. It is absolutely insane the way these drafts work. And I think football is the most unique in that regard because there are 7 rounds. The NBA only has 2 rounds, for heaven's sakes.
Right. The most consistent are running backs. Running backs that are highly rated going into college tend to do well in the NFL.
Well, look for Aiden Robbins.
No.
Go ahead.
No. Quarterback, he breaks it down. I'm telling you, from an analytical standpoint, you would love this. We're going to post it. I'll tweet out a copy of the video for you guys.
Can you resend that out?
Yeah, I'll put that up right now at Mowing
Okay,
After Dark.
and if you'll, and in the private chat, just put the link and I'll also share it in the comment section.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Just so everybody knows, that I'm putting it out there into the ether right now. Aiden Robbins, running back for BYU. He's built like an Adonis. The guy is an absolute stud. He was a little hurt this last fall at BYU, but he could go in the first couple rounds of the draft, which would be incredible for him. All right. Really quick before we get to just all comments, want to thank everybody for being here again. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us all on Twitter. Turn on your notifications. And then consider being a full-time member of the Mafia family by hitting the join button and joining us and enjoying the party a little bit more on the backside of it. Let's do some shout-outs here really quick. So Buckshot Kid's first guy in the house is, oh, good Friday. Moen just left. Okay. The college football Mafia. Let's see. Chad Bracey says, damn, I thought I would first. Sorry. Buckshot Kid is always right there. He is always right there. It's tough to compete. There's Moen. Thanks for being here, Chad, and being a member. I really appreciate it. Ryan Willie, I guess I'm third. All right, Ryan.
Oh, wait.
You got something for Ryan?
The Evil Badger.
What the heck is that?
It's an evil laugh for the evil
okay, for the evil badger. I love it. I love it. Here's the link, by the way, we were just discussing. Moen just sent it to me. So this is the link that explains the draft and the players, how they get drafted in the process. I definitely want you to watch it, but don't watch it till we're done. We'll be done in an hour and a half, and you guys can watch it then. Anyways, Ryan, thank you for being here. We really appreciate you. Timothy Green is not green anymore. That membership thing, man. I like seeing Timothy Green being green. Good to see you here, Timothy. Let's get ready for another great show. Jan Holk, all the way from Slovenia. Thank you very much. Saying hey all. David Hackett. Hello, Big 12 Mafia. Good to see you, David.
What's
Mr.
up?
Monkey. Sorry, you go ahead.
You know, I'm just making stupid comments on the
Oh,
side
no,
of
it's
these.
all right. All right. I'm
So,
just trying to
go
get
ahead.
through as many of these as I can. Mr. Monkey says is 7th. Good to have you here, Monkey. Let's see. Raider Vision says, great news, Moen. He's cheering on your health status. That's great. Daniel Kopcha says, bless the Lord. Another great thank you. Let's see here. Bill G. Bill G climbing into the house early at 5:04 p.m. says, good evening. Good to see you, Bill. Let's see here. I've got a bunch of other comments that are flagged, but I want to say hi first. West Virginia Earl. Hey, all. Good evening. Good to see you, West Virginia Earl. Illini Ted. That's a good name. Hello, all. Good to have you here as a member, Illini. We really appreciate it. Creighton Rabs. This is one that I marked. I might as well bring it out since it's his first post. He says, hypothetical question. What would difference be between the Big and Big East for non-football sports for Notre Dame? Wouldn't it make more sense for Notre Dame to move non-football sports to the Big East instead of the Big Ten? They're right now at the ACC, right?
Right. If if you're going to move all your sports to the Big Ten, your Olympic sports, you have to move football.
It's an all or nothing.
It's an all or nothing thing. If we do one-offs, like Notre Dame has hockey through us, Johns Hopkins has lacrosse through us, I believe. There are certain schools where it's just, but if you have two sports, you got to add them all. You can't take them away. So that's why it wouldn't work.
Do you think there's any?
I mean, Notre Dame's going to be bringing the football over during their next realignment move, and it's going to be into the Big Ten. So there could be a world, I guess, if the ACC fractures and if the ACC disappeared, where the Irish might think about moving like their basketball and their sports into the Big East and keeping football independent. But that you're kind of in the same financial predicament as we just saw. That financial gap's going to exist still. The Big East probably won't make you as much money as the ACC. I know it won't actually. So you're farther behind.
I love that. I love that analysis that you put in there. Very, very important stuff. Scott K. Stater, let's say it right. Scott K. Stater in Florida. So he's a K-State fan in Florida. I would have asked Yormark how he plans to compete with the Big Ten, the SEC at a 50% deficit. So we haven't talked about this yet, but since we're here, let's really quick just cover what Brett Yormark was interviewed at the Big 12. It's not media days. It was the pre-draft workout Pro
it's the
Day.
Pro Day.
And it's first time it's ever happened. It was on NFL Network Live. It was pretty important partnership there. And he was interviewed by 365 Sports and asked some key questions. Ute, I know you watched this video. What stood out to you?
Everything. Just what a stud Brett Yormark is. He is so cool, calculated. He is just stone-faced. He knows what he's doing. He's confident. I love him as the leader of the Big 12. We're in really good hands with him at the helm. And I really, really like some of the things that he was talking about. And he kind of spoke a little bit to this, not directly, but indirectly, with the revenue inequality in football and the unequal revenue distributions that are going on in football with the Big 10 and the SEC getting so much more than the ACC and the Big 12. He made the point saying, why in the world would we allow that in football, but not allow that in basketball, depending on who's bringing in the eyeballs, who's winning championships? Like, that makes no sense logically. And he said he pitched that actually at those meetings, the CFP meetings and everything, and there was agreement amongst that. So he's negotiating on the strength of the Big 12 right now, which is basketball still, and he's going to get as much money as we can get as far as the Big 12 goes.
Moen, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to show his hand. I'm sure he's got his poker and a lot of fires on how he's going to up that revenue model. This is a good example of it. He's got a conference-wide pro day now, where you can showcase your best of your best, get those guys up in the draft. That boosts the recruiting for everybody. Better recruiting equals better teams, better performance in the college football playoff, which can help them with their next media deal. But I mean, I'm sure there's other things that he has, other streams that he is planning to do. We just don't know what they are yet.
I just posted the link to the post that I got from Devil Frog. He was the first one that brought to my attention, and then within 5 minutes, I had 12 other people sending me DMs with the link.
Yeah.
So I copied that into the comment section. You guys can watch that video as well. I would encourage you to do it after we're done tonight, but it's not very long. Like, it's only a half hour, but in the middle of it, there's some really good meat if you're a Big 12 fan. I agree with you. Brett Yormark is an absolute lights out stud when it comes to these negotiations. If there's anybody that can protect what is left, I would say that's Brett Yormark. And let's talk about that for a second. If you're an ACC school that's on the outside looking in, you're NC State, you are Syracuse, Louisville, and you see what's happening with Florida State. We're going to get to Florida State in a little bit. Don't worry. We're not forgetting about that. How would you feel, one, by the way Phillips is treating your schools by just saying get together rah, just like Klyavkov did, versus Yormark, who's out there being proactive?
Yeah, go ahead, Mon. I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, well, if you're the ACC schools, you have to I don't really know what you can do. I mean, at this point, you've given Phillips an extension, and I have no idea why they gave Phillips an extension with the performance he had done thus far. Now he has Clemson and Florida State in open revolt. You know that people are looking elsewhere. There's this whole rumor about going independent.
Florida State
going independent.
Yeah.
You've given basically everything to Notre Dame. You've let Notre Dame dictate the role of your conference. You let them add 3 schools to your conference that added no value to your conference. Stanford, Cal, and SMU did not add value to the ACC. It's as simple as that. I don't care if it gets the ACC network into the Bay Area. It was a bad ad when you include all the travel that has to be done just to, the Big 10 went and got Oregon and Washington to pair with USC, UCLA. And then they've got this whole plan that SMU is going to be the middle point, and we're going to do things in the middle, and that's going to reduce travel. And just if you were smart, if they were smart, they would go add Oregon State and Washington State, say in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's have 4 West Coast teams. But that would make too much sense, and that would probably cost Notre Dame some money, and they can't allow that to happen.
What do you think?
The ACC is so lost. Yeah, and Jim Phillips, he's in over his skis, guys, and it's just like George Klyavkov. It's just nothing you can do. This momentum is just compounding and compounding. There's no way to stop it. I don't like what could he do right now? Like, let me throw that out to you guys. If you were Jim Phillips, like, what would you do to hedge all this stuff or mitigate all this stuff or stop it to protect your conference? Like, what options are there really at this point for the ACC to fight back?
I don't look. I said this before
Right?
the Pac-12 folded. In my opinion, the ACC is just as dead, a dead man walking, like I said about the Pac-12. I knew this was going to happen. I mean, look, this is anybody who's shocked by this hasn't been paying attention or they're brand new to the story. None of this should be a surprise at Boston College, at Syracuse, at Wake Forest. They should have a long-term plan ready to go when the second that Clemson and Florida State leave. They have to be something they can execute immediately to fire back. There can be no delay. And I just don't know what that would be that could keep because who's going to keep them together? Give me one brand that could join the ACC besides Notre Dame that could keep it together.
There's not.
There's not.
That's the only solution for the ACC is Notre Dame joining as a full member.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. There's no chance.
I know it's not going to happen.
Yeah. So if I was say I was the AD at Wake Forest, I would go to Brett Yormark 5 months ago. I could see the writing on the wall, and I would say, hey, look, I know we can't talk formal. We'll talk through third parties, but is there any way, is there anything at all we can do to make us more attractive for the Big 12? I would have done that forever ago.
I'm sure they have. Better. I'm sure they have. That's exactly what they're doing, Nate, for sure.
So I got a report from somebody I really trust on the inside, somebody that has connections with outside forces that deal with the Big 12. You probably could guess this entity, but I heard that Duke is doing exactly that right now. I've made fun of posts that Duke would go to the Big 12. I don't know if anybody else has, but I thought there's no way they would move. But if the conversations are even being made, if Duke joining the Big 12, are you kidding me? They would walk away from their how they think about their education. They'd be walking away from the culture that they're currently in. To even have that conversation, I mean, that shows you where we're at right now.
It's a Stanford discussion. Everyone said, oh, Stanford has this massive brand, world-renowned university, which is absolutely true. And they can't even get like a full share ACC invite. They didn't get a Big 12 invite. Their conference fell apart. They're mud right now. It's all about football, and that's what Duke's problem is too. Duke invested in the wrong thing. Duke's in trouble, just like Stanford is. They're in the same situation. It's all about football. Football's driving the bus. We've all known that, but it's the reality. It's not a joke. Like, in Duke is going to find out that at the hard way. Why would the Big 12 add Duke? What does Duke do for the Big 12 to lift that number over 31 million per school? It doesn't. It does not. Absolutely does not. You're not bringing UNC along with it. Duke adds no benefit financially. They don't add any football. No one goes to their games. No one watches their games on football. You don't have the historical UNC rivalry. Like, the academics, the culture doesn't fit. It makes zero sense. 0 cents. And so I don't care that everyone's talking about Duke. It ain't going to happen. Duke is not going to the Big 12. They might beg and plead and try to get into the Big 12, but there's no way they're an accretive ad. 0% shot.
And I think that's the attitude, right? I think that's what people are dealing with right now. So let's go back to the original question. Is there anything anybody in the ACC can do to make their conference stronger once Florida State and Clemson leave? I'm not even talking about North Carolina.
No.
Not
unless you can get Notre Dame to join you as a full-term member.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. And
yep, I agree.
Jim Phillips has already given it all away. So
yeah, I would agree.
The only thing you could do, which is impossible, is kick teams out. That's never going to happen. It's impossible to do. But if you could consolidate the conference, you could make more money.
Right.
But you can't.
That's true.
And so, there's nothing to do. It's just a dead man walking for sure. And so Jim Phillips is just a sitting duck, just like George Kliavkoff. And so Brett Yormark's running around them both because he's not. You know, the Big 12 survived, and Big 12's going to win. Versus those two, at least.
Right. I would say the only thing with Duke, though, they're not an accretive value right now. But if Yormark is looking long-term future, and sees tremendous growth in college basketball, which it might behoove him to take a basketball brand like Duke. They are a blue blood basketball brand.
Absolutely, they are. Nobody says they're not, right?
How much value does Duke lose though without the UNC rivalry game?
Well, you could still have it as a non-conference game. And, that home game would be broadcast on the Big 12 partner. So
I'd rather add UConn. UConn's better at program than Duke. I mean, like, we're going to the place where you're adding these like no football, basketball only brands that just they don't make a lot of sense in the current state of things. Maybe in like some future iteration in 20 years, but today that's not what's driving the bus.
Well, unfortunately for the Big 12, they're going to have to wait and figure out where everybody else lands first.
That's true. They can't do much proactive. That's right.
They're batting cleanup. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. It seems to me like we're kind of spinning wheels. We're talking about these conversations. Let's jump in and talk about the TJ Pittenger video that came out this morning. All three of us watched that. I think probably most of the people watching us right now watched that video. And it obviously set off alarm bells all over. It was a very progressive way to look at how aggressive Florida State could be to leave the ACC and how desperate they are to make that happen. I have two questions for you guys. First, if that idea didn't come out of whole cloth, right? It didn't just appear. So is it possible that's part of some messaging that TJ, because TJ has contacts with Florida State. Is that possible that it was more of a flare? Hey, look, we're so mad at you. This is something we're considering. And two, is there any way they could get the media contracts taken care of so they could run independent, even without having the money for their home games that are currently at ESPN? So those two questions. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, so as far as the flare goes, 100% a flare. This is just a squawking. So they're trying everything. They're trying to.
I love it. Thank you, Moan. That's awesome.
I mean, really, Florida State's trying everything to get out of the ACC. It's a really sad situation, guys. If you take a step back out and like your most valuable property is literally doing everything they can just to kick, scream, wail to get out of your conference. That's right. That sucks for the ACC schools. But hey, Florida State's going to do everything, going to say anything, going to squawk at anything to get out. Like, they're going to do anything. They're absolutely 100% sold to getting out of this thing. And good luck trying to hold somebody down once they've made up their mind that they're out. It just doesn't happen. They're out. And so that's real, but it's just a flare. And then going back, like, is it actually practical? Yeah. Is it actually doable? Yeah. I don't see any way that it's doable. Like, I don't see any way that this year that it's doable, or really in the future that's doable too, without these lawsuits working out. I mean, right now, Florida State doesn't even own its own rights. Like, that's being actually questioned in court right now. Who owns the rights of Florida State games? Right. So I don't know how you could even sell your games if you don't technically even have rights to your games. How are you going to get paid for your football games? Like, do you think that ESPN or Fox or the CW want to risk a legal lawsuit by paying you for some games that were actually ESPN's because of the grant of rights? No.
Yes.
No.
Thank you for bringing that up, because that was the big outstanding.
Tell me how that makes sense. Like that. Oh yeah, like it's basically Florida State just saying, "Hey, there's no such thing as a grant of rights, so we're just going to sell our games to somebody else." Like it's pretty ridiculous. Like, that's not going to work. Like, and like, it's a fun idea. It's a little flair and everything, but like it's kind of crazy that somebody would even come up with this idea. Like, it makes so little sense that it's shocking that it even got a lot of public play. Honestly,
I think I like thought experiments. I like these ideas being put out there because it's fun to discuss them. Doesn't mean they're gonna come true though. Anyway, go ahead.
Like, yeah, Utah could win the next 100 college football championships too, and I love that thought experiment.
See, that's a great thought experiment for you.
Right. In theory, this is in theory. It's like the quantum theory that an elephant can dangle from a cliff holding a dandelion.
Right.
That's a theory. In theory, that could happen. In reality, your eyes are going to tell you that elephant's eating shit.
Yeah.
The theory, yes, theoretically, this could happen. But, theoretically, a lot of stuff could happen. I wouldn't put very much a high percentage on the theory that they're just going to say, "Oh no, that doesn't happen. Just give us the money." And networks are going to jump all on board that and say, "Yeah, you know what? This would invalidate everything that we stand for and all our brands, but we'll do that just for Florida State." Yeah.
I want to say two things. First of all, I like TJ Pittenger's show. I've been on it. We've had him on our show.
Right.
I don't want to demean anything that he's putting out there. I think that there's reasons why some of these flares, as you has said, get put out into the public space. Good ideas come out of stuff like that. That's what a thought experiment is. I would just caution everybody. A lot of this stuff that's going out there is just cautionary and very warning, because until the legal stuff's sorted out, nothing can happen. So Cleveland Rocks gave us $5 for a super chat saying the ACC and the Big 12 are about equal. The difference is in leadership. Brett Yormark shows strength, while Jim Phillips displays weakness. Thus, the Big 12 survives. Would you guys want to comment on that?
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. Right now, the ACC and the Big 12 are equal, which is absolutely bonkers, given that Florida State's still in the ACC and Miami's still in the ACC, UNC. But still, from a conference level right now, they're basically being treated as equals with all those brands inside the ACC. It's nuts. And of course, that's right. The Cleveland Rocks, Brett Yormark's leadership is the difference maker right now and going forward. And obviously, once Florida State gets out of the conference, the Big 12 overtakes the ACC. Right when that happens, and Clemson's going to get out soon after, and the Big 12 is just going to get more and more ahead of the ACC, for sure.
What do you think, Moen?
Yeah, I think Yormark has played this wonderfully. He can just sit back. But at some point, they're going to have to offer him an extension in the Big 12, because somebody else is going to come calling, a professional team, somebody. So you better pay that man his money.
Tell him to bring me my money.
I love those. Is that for Cleveland Rocks? Did you give him a sounder?
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you,
Sounds
Cleveland
good
Rocks.
to me.
Nice.
Hey, guys, just so everybody knows, if you do good comments, you'll get a sounder from the new soundboard king. That would be Moen, who's got a soundboard that probably has 1,000 sounds on it. So try him out. Give him something to post in, and he'd love to react to it. All right, let's work through some of these comments. They're just
Wait, one second, Bomber.
You bet.
So I want to
Yeah,
ask
go
the
ahead.
community, can anybody in the community, could somebody lay out how Florida State could go independent and unbind their media rights for this calendar season?
I'll even do this, you. Let me post the link, and somebody can join the show and tell us. How about that?
That'd be awesome. If somebody actually thinks that this is a legitimate idea and stuff, I want to hear it.
Okay. I just posted the link if you want to join the show. We're going to be doing this more on Fridays with more party atmosphere, not so much covering only news items. Somebody take the link that I just put in the comment section, follow the instructions, and you'll join, and I'll bring you up, and you can tell us what you're thinking. So I agree with you. I'd like to have somebody try to tell us how engineer how that could happen and make it work.
Because TJ even was saying, "Hey, this is way outlandish. Like, this doesn't seem real." Like, he's like, "I don't even know if I want to talk about this." But he put like a 70% chance that it could happen. Like, we're not talking like this could happen like 0.006%. It's 70%. He's saying 7 out of 10 times this thing's going to happen. Like, how? I don't know. Hopefully, somebody knows the answer to that.
Okay. Let me move along. If you guys want to do that, you want to join the show, take that link and just join us, and we'll talk about it. Let's get to some more comments. Line Ted says, Bomber, what is the best Carpenters album? This comes from, what was that, Wednesday night, Moen? When did we?
Yeah, your hit list, and somebody said you had a hit list. I said, yeah, it was full of Osmond tracks.
Yeah, and I said, no, it was the Carpenters. I'm sorry. Karen Carpenter was the one I was thinking of. I don't know the names of their albums. Something probably like, I don't know, Sunshine Tears or something. I don't know what their titles are. But they were good at Christmas time. So I don't know. Thank you, Illini Ted, for reminding everybody about that. By the way, that's a little hint. He used my cue. If you use my name in one of your comments, there's a bigger chance I pull, because I like to read my own name. All right. Let's see here. Timothy Green says, I still don't understand why nobody picked up Washington State and Oregon State. It is really sad. And I would also hang my head about that. I wish that somebody would pick them up because I'm a Wazoo specifically, but I like both those schools. So does Ute. What do you guys think about that?
Look, I think the ACC should have picked them. If you're taking Stanford and Cal, take Oregon State and Washington State. It doesn't make sense to have two teams all the way on the west coast of the country when all your other teams are East Coast teams. I mean, who's the furthest west other than SMU? What, Louisville?
Yes. Louisville's the next. Yep.
That's the next furthest west. I mean, that's huge.
All right. Oh, we got somebody. Okay, Daniel Kopcha. Good to see
What's
you,
up, Daniel? Welcome
How you
in.
doing? That's huge. You can turn down your computer volume.
So
There you
just,
are.
I don't know how it would work, but I was kind of mind blown that you would even think that someone like Florida State can not only somehow separate from the ACC and go independent, but that would also mess with at least 8 other ACC teams in the standings. I would think, because then that game more or less becomes a non-conference. Or am I wrong there, Bomber or Wild U?
I
Go
think
ahead,
that your
Ute.
nails on that. Like, there's so many issues with this, but like, what happens to? I mean, Florida State at this point, they don't care about the other ACC teams, right? Like, they could say, "You guys can all burn," right? That's what their view is of this and everything. But it would cause mass issues in the ACC with the conference games.
And I would just say on top of that, the logistics of actually doing that, Daniel, would be extremely difficult. I'm a BYU fan, and at BYU, they did an independent schedule for 12 years. It took them really a long time to even get teams willing to play them. And his idea, well, it's not even his idea. He was just talking about it. But when TJ Pittenger put it forward, he's like, the ACC schools don't want to lose Florida State as one of their games because they make a lot of money, right? So if they want to keep that, then there's really no way that the ACC schools are going to want them on it. Why would they want to have the guys that just crush their conference play? They'll make an extra $1 million playing Florida State, but they won't. So it doesn't make any sense to me.
Hey, Daniel, would you mind putting down your volume on your end? We can get some reverb over here.
No, it doesn't make any to me either.
There we go. Yeah, just turn. Can you hear us still, Daniel? He might not be able to hear us through his computer with it down.
Gotcha.
That better?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Great. That is better. So go ahead and answer. Sorry, you sort of lagged there for a second.
Yeah, I think that I think it doesn't make any sense. And I think there's a lot of issues with it. And like, again, how are they going to unbind themselves from the grant rights? Danny,
it's
do you have any
lagging
ideas
because
for that?
I'm listening to the show through my phone, but speaking
Right.
through my computer.
Right. Can you listen? Tell you what, just do it on your phone. Don't use your computer at all. Just use your phone. And you disconnect. Well,
Thanks for jumping on, Daniel.
Daniel,
Yeah,
we
okay.
really appreciate you doing that. If you want to try again, I'd love to have you on. But just call in on your phone, though. Hit the link on your phone. Don't involve your computer at all. It'll work fine. So go ahead and call us back.
I mean, like he's right though. Like, what the heck's going to happen with the ACC, with the remaining schools, if Florida State did happen to leave? I mean, that just causes so much damage.
Right. It's like the ACC is going to allow those teams to play an independent Florida State. Yeah, I think it's I just get the theme song from Willy Wonka where it's like, come with me to a world of pure imagination. Da 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 da. Where Florida State's independent. Yeah, I just don't see how it's even plausible or possible. But I'm sure there is that somehow that theoretical less than 0.1% possibility that is somehow been legally worked out, that some genius at Florida State has said, hey, if you go to this case and this case and this case, we could do this.
Right.
Now let's,
I mean,
let's
it's
put
just
that out
challenging
there.
the notion of a grant of rights, right? If the grant of rights don't exist, then there's no binding. You can't, if you are not in the conference and you disassociate yourself from the conference, then theoretically the grant of rights are not binding.
Right.
And like it,
Right.
and like, but like, yeah, how do you disassociate yourself from the conference? That's what's being worked out right now in court.
They go,
Like,
they go 1, 2,
you go to Willy
3, not
Wonka
it.
land.
They just say
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, not it.
All right. Moving right along. By the way, Daniel, I just got a message from him on Twitter. He's still watching us. He's having some connection difficulties. I told him next time just use his phone. So we appreciate you calling in, Daniel, very much.
Yeah,
and if there's
absolutely.
anybody else wants to be in the part of that conversation, let me post the link again. I'd love to have you on the show and explain, if not this one, anything else that's on your mind at college football. We're opening up tonight, sort of an open mic. Take that link and we'll talk about what you want to talk about for a few minutes. Buckshot Kid, I want to answer this question. Any timeline when Discord will be ready? I hope it's ready by tomorrow. That's what I'm shooting for. If it does go live, I might do a short on, I might do a Bombers hit list tomorrow night explaining how the Discord works and getting people involved. But I just want to make sure that the security is locked down on it. We don't want people to join and then like have your, member stuff taken and stuff. I want to make sure it's all locked down. So it's coming. It's just not there yet. Thanks for asking about it though, Buckshot. Here's a comment from Daniel before we brought him on. Don't forget Kuz's video on the subject, Bomber, mowing after dark and wild ute. Who wants to explain that? And I'll bring that video back up so everybody knows what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's a video Kuz did for us on Notre Dame, and we made it since we don't keep things locked behind a paywall forever. So since it was relevant yesterday, we went ahead and moved that up the schedule and made it live. And Kuz presents his point, and he's got some valid points. I disagree with them, but they're valid points.
Absolutely valid.
On why Notre Dame will not join the conference.
All right, very good. Oh, we got a new member just popped in the house. Look at this. Daniel Kopcha just signed as a new member. What do you think about that, Moen?
Thank you.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook.
Thank you so much, Daniel. We love it. All the activity and you becoming a member is really important to us. Thank you very much for doing that. He was the one that was having trouble signing up that I was talking about earlier in the show. So I'm glad he got that worked out. That's great.
No, I love that you're bringing folks on in the community like Daniel jumping on and just talking about what's on their mind and like thinking about it from a different perspective, possibly. That's awesome. We need to do more of that. I love it.
I'm going to post that link again so everybody has it to join the show. I think the last one I did. Oh, no, there it is. The College Football Mafia, you can see the link right there. It says StreamYard on it. If you want to join the show, that's the one you click. All right, let's go back to comments that we got from earlier in the show. Mowing After Dark from Jim F. He says, what that doesn't take into account is Notre Dame takes some of the TV money to fund academic scholarships, so we don't know really what their budget is.
Okay, valid point.
I think you can say that with almost all the religious schools, because we don't have access to like BYU. I don't know where all their money goes. So it's a good question. It's possible. I also don't think Notre Dame cares about, I think they want to win a national championship. The money to them, unless players are paid $30,000, $40,000 each as a default, I don't think Notre Dame is going to have any trouble getting players.
I mean, if anyone wants expense information, you can find that information for private schools. You can see what Notre Dame's spending money on. That's not hidden information. It's just, we can send the link out to anybody who wants to research any school. And Notre Dame, they're spending it mostly on recruiting and coaching for football, travel costs for football, mostly football-related expenses. BYU, same thing. So,
very true.
Yeah.
Next one here is Go Black 45, which is a fantastic name. He's been a member for a while. We appreciate you being here, Go Black. They won't join because the SEC will still schedule them to boost their schedule to get into the CFP just to keep them out of the Big Ten. Well, there you go. You gonna say anything about that, Moen?
I disagree with it vehemently.
All right, that's good enough. All right, we've got somebody else
Jesse,
who's joining the show. Jesse, how
What's
you doing?
up?
How we doing?
Doing good. Boy,
Man,
you look
I'm
good.
so
Florida
excited
State.
that Jesse's going to tell us how this makes sense. Come on, Jesse, tell us how it makes sense. This
I
Pittenger
think it makes
theory.
sense because I think the ACC knows that they're screwed. I mean, tell me. I mean, I've been watching you guys since you guys have been covering this, and I think one of the coolest things is you brought on Justin a couple nights ago.
Yep.
And he actually threw something out the other night that was like, wait a minute, that's an interesting perspective. And his thought was that, that it's very possible that the judge could say, well, you didn't take your vote till January 17th. So that's going to be your date. You didn't file first. And then we don't know. I mean, ESPN didn't look too hot when they said, some of the stuff's available in Florida. We're just not bringing any light to it. But if they didn't provide that to the North Carolina judge, how do you think the judge feels about that?
I found that really intriguing because for everybody who didn't know, I think that was our Wednesday Bombers Hit List show when Justin came on. He's been on a couple times. He's actually in North Carolina State, and he's in school for to be a lawyer. So he knows about all these legal filings and stuff. Guy's fantastic. I want to give everybody his call sign, and then we'll talk about exactly what he said. Let me bring this up really quick so I make sure everybody knows who we're talking about. I like to give credit where credit's due. So it's just R02, and I will put that in the comment section so everybody knows to follow him. The guy's a stud, and he's always welcome
He's a wolf
to join our show.
guy. Yeah.
He is, which is again ironic because here he's talking about something that would not necessarily help his school.
Exactly. He's, I mean, that his perspective definitely didn't hit, for him or his school.
Right.
And it was just it's something that kind of hit out of nowhere because, either you've got the crowd where it's like, oh, well, you signed, this contract that nobody's seen, and you have to be, you're enforced to the rules of the contract that nobody's seen, but you're not allowed to have a copy of it. You're only allowed our interpretation. And it's funny because the people who say that, if they were in a situation where they would be put into that situation, they wouldn't be too happy. So,
right. It's very true.
So Jesse, question about this too. So this would require either a settlement or a court ruling for Florida State to unbind its media rights and go independent, correct?
We don't know. We don't know. That's the other thing is with, the fact that this judge only has 13 out of 160 documents, nobody knows. And, the more we get along in this is it seems like, over the summer, it was assumed that all these schools got all this information. We don't know that's a fact either. The more some of this comes out, it's like we don't know, and we ask these questions, and then somebody else finds out a little piece. So it's like Clemson has a little piece, Florida State has a little piece, but nobody has all of it.
I still can't get over they're only releasing 16 of 160 pages.
Well, it was 13 of
13 out of
the
it's
only reason
ridiculous.
I said that was like, wow, not even 10%.
Right. That's true.
Mhm.
And they're treating the judge like he's stupid.
Mhm.
That's they're saying, oh, don't worry about it. Trust us.
Yeah.
Our contract's ironclad. Don't worry about it.
Hey, it's trade secrets. You don't need to see it.
Even the judge can't even see it. I mean, that's ludicrous.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we don't know. Like that is the biggest piece. Is Clemson says our interpretation is this, and it's nowhere near the same interpretation as the ACC's interpretation.
Right.
So, who's right? No, and I feel like the reason 90% of it's tucked away is because it's not what anyone knows. And Moen hits real hard on Notre Dame. I feel like they're hiding a lot of stuff because Notre Dame probably gets more stuff from the conference not being a member,
Right.
and nobody wants that information to come out of what Notre Dame's actually getting.
That's actually
So Notre Dame's getting paid more than we think.
There's a
Maybe
lot of
possible.
rumors out there about different, like you were talking about, Duke and the Big 12 earlier.
Right.
Duke's invested heavily into football and facilities and you're kind of underselling them a little bit, but everyone's kind of wondering, where did that money come from?
Right.
Where did Wake Forest's money come from with their new facilities? Where's this money coming from? Because Wake Forest is dead last in viewership,
Right.
right? And the largest growing fan base, whatever. But I mean,
According to
where's some
them.
of these schools' money coming from? And investing in things that they're not even good at. So, are there back deals being made? We don't know. But it would be very interesting to find out, that there's a lot of secrets in North Carolina. And it just seems like, there's a reason it's all being hidden.
Very true. Moen, did you want to say anything
Yeah.
over there thinking?
Well, I mean, could it be that the Notre Dame has somehow managed to finagle even more money away from the ACC?
Would you be surprised?
No.
No.
Here's a
Exactly.
super
Robbery.
chat. Really quick. Ryan Willie, $5 super chat. Thank you, Ryan. Says
you, Ryan.
Moen FSU is trying to avoid.
You got to let him do
Mo's
the
got a
evil
new-
laugh first. Hold on.
Mo's got a new soundboard here.
Evil Badger, evil laugh.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Is that it? I don't know. We're going to have to work on this timing stuff because some of yours go a long time and some are very short.
Yeah.
Ryan Willie, again, the evil Badger says, Moen FSU is trying to avoid tampering accusations. That was a $5 super chat.
Thank you, Ryan.
That's true, right? That's true. The tortuous interference, I hate saying that, but that is something they're trying to get away from collusion. But we know Florida State's out. They want out bad. So let's ask you directly, Jesse, since I couldn't get anybody else from Florida State to come on tonight, so you're the representative tonight. What do you think about what TJ Pittenger put out today? And what do you think the messaging is for?
Money. At the end of the day, it's money. It's a threat. We don't know, more than likely, it's not necessarily an empty threat, but it's a threat that, hey, we could completely screw up the conference's plans and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, you either start working with us to do something or we'll blow it all up. Like they've said this, we will blow it up. And that's one way to blow it up, right? So
yeah.
I think it's more of a threat, and the ACC, we've seen them. The strongest they've ever been towards anything is fighting Florida State.
Right.
I wish they fought this hard for the conference.
Exactly.
Which makes absolutely no sense. So,
yeah.
I might as well, push Jim Phillips into a corner because he's weak, right? Like, y'all had this conversation earlier. Who would you rather have as, the head of your conference?
Yeah.
Well, I'd rather have the guy from the Big 12, everybody the ACC's ever had. But Jim Phillips could also be in a position from Swofford that, man, like I'm not on solid ground here. So, when you haven't done business the right way, which is very clear, you just don't know what skeletons are in the closet.
So can I ask one more question? Jesse, thanks so much for joining. It has been awesome to have you on here. Letting everybody know we're going to be doing more of this on our Friday nights. It's more of a party show and not so much just reading the news. But this question really cuts to the point that I've always wondered, nobody's answered. When the Pac-12 was going through all their struggles, when everything was happening and you saw that conference just disintegrating by backbiting, people talking about each other behind each other's backs, no unity, the anti-Big 12. Why didn't the ACC do more to build itself up? Why did they not support Florida State at the end of the day?
I think a lot of it has to do with bureaucracy. None of these guys are true businessmen. I got labeled as a conspiracy theorist back in January that, we're a couple of years away from an all Big 12 or all Big 10, all SEC playoff format. And people laughed at me, you're tinfoil. And then not a month later, the SEC and Big 10 want automatic buys.
Right.
They're getting 60% of the money, right? Like, and nobody responded after that. Oh, not such a conspiracy theory now, is it? Because Florida State and Clemson come out, ACC dissolves, right? So how close then are we to an all SEC, all Big Ten playoff format, right? Like it just shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. But one thing when it comes to negotiations, right? Your negotiations never get bigger when you're the small guy, right?
Yeah.
So when you settle for 17%, that means you have to hold on for dear life.
Yes.
For the rest of your time. That's it.
Yeah.
You've accepted that you're such a small nothing. You're nothing, and that's all you have to hold on to. But to answer your question, it's the bureaucracy. Is that this will never happen? It's just the apathy of everything, and it really took the SEC being just aggressive finally to say we're done messing around. We want all the money.
Right.
And it shocked everybody, right? That's what a real businessman looks like. and you can see everyone else isn't, period.
Yeah, I think it's very true. Do you guys have any other
Sounds
questions?
Sounds just like the Pac-12, Jesse.
Mhm.
That's exactly
Mhm.
the same situation as the Pac-12.
Mhm.
Yep. We're dealing with the same thing.
As an outsider, I just look at that, and to me, it's obvious how stupid it is. I mean, on its face, I don't see a plan to it at all. Here's one more comment before you go, Jesse. Line Eye Ted, one of our members, says, it seems like FSU is in the Colorado type role. The ACC teams that could move are all, are all closely monitored so they don't get left out. The lawsuits are equivalent to the Pac-12 media negotiations.
I don't know if I agree with that either. A lot of people say, why did Florida State wait so long to do something?
Right.
Number one is leadership, right? They did have money problems for a while, but number one is leadership. You finally have guys in place who are businessmen. And you look at Alfred, look at his background. He is a businessman. And you see now the things that are happening, and it's very exciting. But these I don't want to say backwoods, but these southeastern schools who have just done business a certain way, the bureaucracy of it, nobody's working on business. And I'll tell you, just wait till some of these things shake out. You're either at the forefront, at the precipice of doing something big, or you are going to be so far behind that you won't have a program. And if you're not really out there doing big things, it's going to be embarrassing. And people don't see it. Like by the time people realize it is so late, that there's nothing you can do. If you think about people like when all this started, Pitt fans were all over FSU fans. Oh, you guys don't, you just, whatever. But it's like they're starting to see it. Oh my God, this discrepancy is ridiculous. It's like, yeah.
Just
maybe
like Utah. They're Utah
maybe
in this whole thing.
40 years ago when you were relevant, but you didn't care up until today when you realized it's over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can do.
All right. Any other
Good
things
stuff,
for
Jesse.
Jesse?
Yeah.
Jesse,
No, that's
thank
it.
you so
Guys,
much.
You do
We
great
appreciate
work. Thank you
coming
so
on.
much. I appreciate it. Have a great night.
All right, you too.
Thanks,
We'll do this
Jesse.
one again, okay? That was awesome. Great to have
A
Jesse
great
on.
call. Yeah.
Thank you, Jesse, for spending some time with us. We really appreciate that. Let's get to some more comments as we were sitting in here. I think, Moen, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I got all the super chats, right?
Yeah, and the last one was
Okay.
from Ryan. and
Last
you
one,
got
Ryan
that.
Willie. I just want to make sure we covered that. Okay. All right. So let's get to some more. Thanks so much, Jesse, for joining the show. Dan Miter, one of our members, says Flugar said that, and that's Greg Flugar, peek around the corner, friend of the show, that Notre Dame has no intentions of joining a conference, so that plan isn't going to work to save the ACC. And I would add to that, Moen said this 100 times, if they would just make a declaratory statement that they will support the ACC, not join, but just even be there to support and backstop the ACC, that would lend so much credibility to keeping it going. If Oregon and Washington had done that for the Pac-12, put a stake in the ground and said, we're here to stay, the conference would still be around.
Oh, nice. Exactly, Bomber. Oregon and Washington could have saved the Pac, but they chose not to.
Moen, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, Notre Dame never does anything that's not in the best interest of Notre Dame. Which, you can
Right.
say
Make as
from
much
one
money
point,
as they can.
well, from one point of view, I understand that. My problem with Notre Dame is then the standing on the soapbox and crying, how terrible it is that this is happening while they're the ones directly doing it. It's like, how terrible the Big Ten did this. Well, you did this.
Yeah.
How terrible the Pac-12 did this. You guys are responsible for. You guys share your part of the blame, guys.
Devil Frog, definitely friend of the show, says watching the Big 12 Pro Day on NFL Network. I put your link up, Devil Frog. I don't know what else you want me to do for that. And listening to Big 12 Mafia, the Big 12 basketball. UH is 1.5
Houston.
hours. Houston is the lone representative left for the Big 12. It's been
Right.
kind of anticlimactic considering the season. But thank you for watching. We appreciate you, Devil Frog, and please let us know if there's anything we
Georgia
should be
Tech.
doing. Yeah, drinking game. If you want to get a little drink with us tonight, we haven't talked about it a lot this evening. We started off with Notre Dame, and that sort of sucked up all the energy. But yeah, Georgia
Notre
Tech is
Dame's
our
like the
drinking game.
anti-drinking game. Is that what we're saying here?
I don't
When we talk
know.
about Notre Dame, it sobers you.
Maybe. Well, I think they ruin a lot of parties. Let me just say that. Another comment from Becky. I want to see nothing but Georgia Tech content. There you go. Right on time. She saves us. Let's see. Here we go. Scott K-Stater in Florida. He
What's
says,
up,
I'd like to
Scott?
see Wild Utes analysis of Miami to the Big 12.
Man, that's a fantastic video idea, Scott. Moan, if you wouldn't mind putting that up as a members poll,
Yeah,
and like
we'll
putting
put
that
it up.
that's going to be yeah.
We'll put that up in the next poll. I'm gonna strip out the ones that have scored less than 10% and put some new
That's a good
options in
idea.
there.
In fact, maybe what we should do is have multiple polls. Would you like this? Or would you like this? Would you like, and then see if we can't filter down to the one that people want to see most,
Yeah. And
relevant.
I think Miami would score well, but I have no idea till the analysis is done. And I think that a lot of folks would be interested. So great idea.
Moving on. Here we go. Lorenzo Haynes. Riddle me this. I love saying that.
Riddle me this.
17% of 1.3 billion is not 14 or 13 million. It's 12.5. Unless you divide it by 15 and not 18. Was that on purpose? Matt, Ute, answer that. He's throwing a math problem at you.
I don't know. I give up. Yeah.
I was told there would be no math.
Oh my gosh, you guys are funny. Okay, I would just say this, Lorenzo, since everybody's sleeping today and can't do math in their head. The number I don't think really matters at this point because everybody knows Florida State's going away. And so the ACC number is going to change, and that's going to affect the other conferences' payouts. The Big Ten and the SEC are going to grow, but the Big 12 is going to get a good portion of that as well. So the ACC.
I would ask you to consider rounding up too. Rounding up is make the whole numbers a lot more digestible. So
that sounds like something I would have told my algebra teacher that I failed 3 times in high school. I was
11.
just rounding up.
Remember on The Office where they came up with a number to solve all the problems? It was 11.
Yes, I do. The Office was so good. All right. Doc Gibbs, not one of our members, but glad to have you here, man. Don't group NCSU with Syracuse. I'm sorry. I was not trying to group anybody with anybody. Do not underestimate the North Carolina Board of Governors' power over UNC. Ultimately, UNC and NCSU will not be separated because NC legislature will stop it. Okay. First, Doc, thanks for being here. We appreciate your comment.
Yes.
If you would watch the Bombers hit list on Wednesday night, it's in our media library. We talked about this almost the whole show. We talked about it with somebody that represents North Carolina State and understands the legal ramifications of everything you're talking about. At the end of the day, nobody knows if they're going to separate or not. I will just tell you my opinion, and then I'll ask you the other guys what they want. But my opinion is if the state has a chance to make a gaggle of money at the expense of another school, but they're willing to share the money back and forth to be more relevant in some way, I think they're going to do it. So that's my opinion. What do you think, you?
I think North Carolina State would be a fantastic ad for the Big 12. And as a Big 12 fan and supporter, I would love to see the Wolfpack in conference. So that's the first thing. We do not dislike North Carolina State, we actually like them a lot. We want them to join us. But as far as North Carolina State trying to piggyback on UNC and becoming the Wolfpack backpack, which is basically the implication, I think, here, I think this is absolutely dead wrong. I think that you can look at case studies in Oklahoma, Oregon State, and California. The same exact freaking thing was said. Oh, the legislature's going to keep them together. They've always been together. This, that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's a math equation. If the Wolfpack can get $31 million from the Big 12 and UNC can get $80 million from the SEC, that's a lot better than sitting at $30 million each in the ACC. It's a simple math. So that's why they'll separate, because it's advantageous for both parties.
Moen?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I can't help but read that comment in Darth Vader's voice. Do not underestimate the power of the North Carolina Board of Governors.
Yeah, I mean,
look, so let's really explain the backpack analogy, because we've been using it on our show. You coined it, so if anybody else is saying it, it's definitely Wild Utes origination. We have proof. Explain what the North Carolina State backpack is.
So folks have been talking about for months the power of North Carolina's government here in the legislature, trying to hold UNC and NC State and possibly other schools together. And I don't understand why you do that if it's not financially advantageous for all parties and everything. Like, I get that it's in the political realm and there's not a lot of smart things done in the political realm, but I think a simple math equation would work in this case, just to break it out to say, hey, if you guys separate, you actually make more money both on each sides. It's that freaking simple, especially with UNC. Like, they are better. They're worth more separated than together. That's the principle. And I don't care what government you're dealing with. People can figure that out. It's not hard to figure that one out. So the NC State backpack is ACC fans saying that, hey, if NC State jumps on UNC's back, they're going to follow UNC to either the SEC or the Big Ten. And that's just not financially viable for those conferences. NC State's a great brand, but not nearly as strong a brand to add to one of the Power Two, in my opinion. So that's what the coining of the Wolfpack backpack is where it came from.
Very good. Moen, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, too much clap back on the Wolfpack backpack.
You stop it. I can.
Well, it's true.
You
Think about it.
I can't. Oh,
Like, what do you expect though? Like, when you're
like a minute, I can't do anything for a minute at least.
it's just not going to go well. Like, when you're,
I don't disagree. I think
when you're in NC State's, when they're in NC State's situation, like when you're trying to tether yourself to UNC, it's just not going to sit well and look good on your brand at all. Like, it looks desperate.
Right.
It looks like a backpack. And like, this is exactly what you're saying. So the legislature's going to hold them together and stuff, so we could all make less money, be less relevant, and seen less. Like, no, that's not how it's going to work. It's the Wolfpack backpack.
All right,
let's let go of the backpack.
Let's ask
Come to the Big 12.
Couple comments about the Wolfpack backpack. Everybody, make sure you go on Twitter, repeat that, and make sure you give you the credit. Dan Miter says, "Are these people slow in the East? Not a panic situation yet, but the leadership and dollar dictate you better change your thought process." I would agree with that.
Have you ever seen the meme? This is fine, with the dog that's sitting in the burning kitchen, and this is fine. That's Jim Phillips. That's Jim Phillips. This is fine.
Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
It'll all be good. All right. Hey, look here. We got a new member, Jesse Garrett.
That's got to be the Jesse we just talked with, maybe.
It is. Yes.
Kudos.
Yes. Can we get something better than just winner, please?
Okay, let's
give him something good.
Let him cook.
Let him cook something. We got to give him something better than that. Jesse, we really appreciate.
When people ask why you drink so much whiskey, it's actually because you have a genetic condition that your body doesn't produce its own alcohol. Therefore, you're forced to take a supplement.
Jesse, you're a stud. Thanks for coming on tonight. We'll have to do that again. Send me a DM and we can talk about things that if you want to be more involved. Love to have you. Florida State fans are the best. I have a bunch of friends, and I really appreciate you being here. Ryan Willie gave us another super chat saying, Mo in North Dakota, Notre Dame, can't do that because it'd be hypocritical of Notre Dame. On another note, I won't be around as much. It's baseball season. Okay. Well, that's sad for one thing, Ryan. Baseball season.
Come on, the Brewers.
Yeah.
Brewers.
Well,
We don't overlap with the Brewers too often. Come on, we need you.
yeah. Well, we appreciate everything you do for us, Ryan. Don't get down. We appreciate
You always
it.
be our evil badger.
That's right. Do we have an evil badger thing? I thought you
Yeah,
had a sounder for that.
we do.
Okay. Well,
Evil
all right.
badger
That's
left.
fine. Just you got to go.
Gotta head out. Yeah. I do.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's a little early, but we'll let you go. That's fine. Do you want to kind of tell everybody what your next project is and kind of what you're working on as we look into this coming week?
Yeah, working on Louisville to the Big 12 as far as a Wild Ute University and the fit there. And if it's a good fit, if it's a bad fit, if it's the best fit, if it's the worst fit. And the results are pretty shocking, actually. So I think that y'all will like it. Some good illustrations too in that one. And also, as Scott mentioned earlier, we're going to throw up another poll. And if you're interested in seeing Miami to the Big 12 or a different variation of a realignment video, I'll do the research after the fact. You just tell me, the members just tell me what you want, and I'll customize the work for you. So, yeah, in the meantime, go Utes and don't invest in the Wolfpack backpack.
Thank you so much for being here, Ute. It's great to see you. We will see you again Tuesday night. Down at the bottom of the screen, you've seen all our shows. College Football Mafia has a bunch of shows that it does. Big Freakin' Fridays are showcase for the week. We also do Big 12 Mafia Monday or Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We have Big West Mafia on Mondays, and these are all at 8 o'clock Eastern. So we'd love to have you. Last one is Mowing After Dark on Sundays. Are you feeling good enough to do that mowing this week?
Yeah, I should be okay. Next week we will not do it because it's WrestleMania and I want to watch WrestleMania.
Oh Lord.
But
okay.
But I bet you that Wild U is going to backtrack on that Wolfpack backpack investment advice.
What do you think he's going to say?
I don't know. I'm just saying he's going to backtrack on the Wolfpack backpack.
So I'm confused. What do you mean?
He's going to backtrack.
Of when what and what does that mean to me? I don't know what that. What did he say that he's going to backtrack on?
He said he was going to invest in the Wolfpack backpack.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying he's going to backtrack invest
the Wolfpack
in the Wolfpack backpack.
Okay. All right, that's great. Jamie Thornton always coming in and giving me some comedy. I said North Dakota. That was a bit of a Freudian slip, but I actually do that a lot when I see ND. I'm trying to get Notre Dame out of my brain. So anyway, thank you, Jamie. Appreciate seeing you here. Let's get to some more comments. Let's see. Yes. Johnny Bard, Florida State 91, has been a member for a while now. Glad to have you here. He says, when a school leaves a new conference mid-contract, who pays the full share versus a half share? The conference, the network? Is there a fund for such contingencies? Mafia drank. What do you think about that, Moen?
Well, I mean, this has to all be negotiated out at the end of the day, and that's what I think is going to happen. I know a lot of people on the Florida State side want this to go all the way to the end and not pay a dime. I think much more realistically, somebody's going to get some money somehow to let Florida State go. We talked about it on Wednesday, I think.
Right.
You're going to get at least four of these schools that can pay, that will pay, and that money, that lump sum to be distributed, is going to be enough to keep some of those schools within the ACC conference for the foreseeable future. Now, long term, no. The ACC has built its foundations on sand, as it were, and it's going to be difficult for them to come back from losing their top four brands.
Yeah, and I would just say this is what all the legal disputes are over, right? They're talking about access, who has access to the games, talking about the money, what it would cost to either cover the games in a year or the remaining contract. All that stuff, that's what they're in court to find out, and who controls all that stuff. So we'll find out soon, Johnny. I know you're waiting on pins and needles. We're not trying to toy with you, just letting you know that it's going to take a minute. There aren't any big answers out there yet until there's some legal rulings. Let's see here. Devil Frog, one of our members, also a founding member of the Mafia family, says FSU and Clemson don't want to be in a conference with SMU. I personally believe that. Do you believe that, Moen?
Yeah, and I saw we've got some people from SMU didn't like the comments I made, but you know what? If anybody bought their way into my conference, I would take issue with it. I just think I don't know.
I'm kind of bipolar with SMU. First of all, I say good for them. Get in a conference, do the best you can, right? Everybody should fight for what they can get. But on the other hand, I would say, look, there's a natural progression for schools to be invited to these conferences. They're earned.
Right.
They're not done on a check basis. So from that standpoint, I'm totally against it, right? So I'm kind of bipolar when I look at SMU. I said they have every right to do what they're going to do to make their school be in a better position. In my opinion, I just don't think that's the way to do it. So
Right. I think the 4 G5s that went into the Big 12 all earned that spot.
more
in there.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's no. I mean, you can prove that out too if you look at the history. Becky Go Husky says he's made agreements with WWE. We're talking about Brett Yormark. And now the NFL for a combine like pro day, he's making money in different ways for the conference. He's hustling. That's a sounder we need. That hustling from a song. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, see, I've got to watch that, but we've got,
that's right. I forgot. Yeah, we
let
don't
me
want to get.
see. He could throw down and say,
Let's get ready to rumble.
I love it. That's perfect. I do like that. I'm going to post a link if anybody wants to join the show, just like Jesse did about 10 minutes ago. Just click that link. Join on your phone if you can. Computer's fine too, but unless you're wearing a headset, we get some reverb just so everybody knows. But just click the link on your phone. Come right in and join the show. Love to have you. We've got almost a whole half hour that we can take more questions. So we want to do that if you want to be part of it. Let's see here. Thank you, Becky. I really appreciate your contributions to Big West Mafia. Everybody, watch that Monday night show, Big West Mafia. Sergeant Pickles and Becky do a fantastic job, and they're just getting better. The stuff they're putting out is really important for Washington, Oregon, USC, and UCLA specifically. They also cover the Mountain West, so that would be Mountain West Conference, Boise State, Utah State, all the way down to UNLV and San Diego State. So I would encourage anybody that's in the western part of the country, you want a show to watch that's dedicated to you, that would be Big West Mafia Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. All right. Cleveland Rocks, always doing the hustling for us, saying, again, viewers, please like the show. Yeah, let me go through that really quick. If you're new to the show, please subscribe on YouTube and then turn on your notifications on YouTube. Same thing with Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. And you'll know when our shows are going to be popping up and the news that we're tracking. If you have ideas that you think we should be doing for shows or even questions that we can put up for polls, send them to us in a DM on Twitter or leave a comment on the video afterwards. But we really appreciate everybody being here. And we're continuing to grow. Feel free to join the Mafia family as a member. Just hit that join button on the main page and it'll walk you right through it. Thank you very much for doing that. Cleveland Rocks. I appreciate it. Illini Ted says the Pac and the ACC are both going to cease to exist from inaction. Both could have picked apart the Big 12, but neither acted. So now the Big 12 is going to outlast them both. Let's do opinions on that. Moen, what do you think about that?
No, that's absolutely correct. They were proactive. They went and got 4 G5 schools and elevated them. They did what they could to secure the house, and then it just kind of fell to them when Pac-12 started falling apart. They ended up picking up 4 more teams. When the ACC falls apart, they'll probably pick up 4 more teams. But it all comes back down to the Big 12 grabbing those 4 G5s and elevating them.
Yeah, I completely agree. Do you and I think this comment's spot on. I think as I've tried to make the comparison for months now, they both think they're better than the people they're dealing with.
Yes.
Both conferences have complete disdain for anybody that's in the middle of the country, the flyover states, as it were. They have no respect for them. They thought their educational standards were so much higher, which we proved they weren't. We could go through a history lesson if anybody wants to know. A lot of those things that they claim aren't exactly true. There's a lot of disinformation out there from people that we don't talk about, but we certainly know that they're spewing stuff that isn't true. Illini Ted's spot on. I think the ACC is going to stick around, but I think the Big 12 is going to be the stronger of the two of them. So thank you very much for
agree.
that comment,
I
Ted.
agree.
Let's see here. Got another. Wow, we get them all over. Another one from Ryan Willie, super chat, saying, "I said it once and I'll say it again. North Dakota, Notre Dame is scared of the Big Ten. I don't know.
Let him cook.
Gotta
Let
let him
him
cook
cook
on
now.
this one.
Let him cook. I said, let him cook.
100% right. Notre Dame is terrified of the Big Ten. They know they'd be mid at best.
Yeah, the reason they're staying independent, and they probably always was, because they want to be treated different. That's the bottom line, even if it means less money. That's my opinion. Don Scruggs, who is new member, says, "What's up, y'all? SEC fan here. Don, thank you for being here. I've told you before, we need to start building up this SEC wing of the Mafia family, man. Definitely let me know if there's other people I could be reaching out to involve more people from the SEC, because I care very strongly about that conference. I think it's absolutely dominant, and I would love to do some coverage in your area. So please let me know if there's anybody you think I should cover. I appreciate your comment, though. Let's see here. I wanted to answer this one. So Coy, who's one of our members, says, is Coos part of the College Football Mafia family now, or just contributes on videos? I'll say part of it, and then I'll ask Moen can answer the second part. Coos has been a part for a show for a long time. He's just started now to contribute some of these videos, but definitely we want to support him, and I think he's going to do some stuff with us. So while nothing's necessarily formal, we're definitely doing everything we can to build up his show, Coos Corner, which is fantastic on YouTube, and we want everybody to go and watch. What do you want to add to that, Moen?
Yeah, we're doing some stuff with Coos. Coos is doing some stuff with us. Stay tuned.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you very much for the comment, and good to see you, Coy. I love having you here. Devil Frog wants to follow up, and I was going to correct Moen, and I didn't. There's only 3 G5s that the Big 12 picked up, and then BYU. So let's be honest. And in my opinion, if the Pac-12 had picked up BYU in 2011 instead of Utah, we'd be in a different situation with that conference. But they were never going to do that. All right. Yeah. Don in Kansas. He names them. There we go. He knows what time it is. Good job, Don. I appreciate you calling that out. What do we have for a Kansas, Don in Kansas sounder?
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
I love it. Let's see. Nathan Campbell, longtime member, says, Bomber, do you guys think the Big 12 with the, think the Big 12 with a new TV partner? Moen, what do you think about that? Maybe not this round, but maybe in
not this go around. They've got to have more volume in order to achieve that. So they're going to have to, once they get more teams in, which I think is going to be closer towards the end of this media deal, I do see them doing something with a streamer somewhere, whether it's an Amazon or a Netflix. We've seen Netflix invest heavy in wrestling, signing up Monday Night Raw. Streamers are going to start investing heavy in live sports.
They did that tennis. They did that tennis thing a month ago that was live. So they're definitely playing with it. Amazon and Apple have not gone away. But the marketplace has changed too. This isn't 2019, 2020 TV markets. Everything is different now with streaming, because of COVID. And it really put us in just a real quick history lesson. We wouldn't be in this frantic round of realignment if COVID hadn't hit. Because COVID, when it hit, it made people really, really look around and think, what are we actually doing here? Instead of just going along, signing the next deal, being normal, COVID made people think outside the box. That's why you had the Texas OU. That's why you had USC, UCLA. These big conferences know what time it is, and they're not going to sit back and wait.
And Netflix is revenue positive, and King Spleen brought it up in the chat. They've also got the Tyson fight coming up.
Oh, with what's his name?
Jake Paul.
Yeah,
Jake
that Paul, the Paul brother. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, so they're getting into live sports. So I wouldn't be shocked to see Netflix do something with one of these conferences.
Thank you very much for the comment, Nathan. We really appreciate it. Let's see here. Timothy Green says, I can definitely understand that, Mo. And like I said, I'm just glad to see you getting better, man.
I appreciate it, Timothy. He's talking about Georgia Tech. So
okay, Georgia Tech. Very good. Let's see. Tony Lawson. Good to see you, Tony. Says Utah's economic professor's numbers crunching didn't help the pack either. Well, go ahead, Moen.
Damn!
We need a wah from the.
Oh, I've got it.
Okay, do that one. There we go. It's my favorite game show of all time. Price is Right. All right. Thank you very much, Tony. We agree. That was really screwed up with what happened to the Pack. Timothy Green follows up and says, by the way, Georgia Tech. He really wants to make sure people are enjoying their Friday nights. All right, let's go here. Dan Miter. Owen actually has good vocals. He's surprised. I would have guessed he couldn't carry a tune across the street.
So I said I had that thyroid removed, and now I can sing Willy Wonka.
Okay, I want to hear it. Oompa Loompa. Let's go.
I couldn't do the Oompa Loompa one. I just know the beginning of Pure Imagination.
Oh, do that one. I like that one.
Come with me and you'll see a world of pure imagination. Da da da. And I don't remember the rest of it.
I love Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka's awesome.
The original with Gene Wilder is fantastic.
When you're a kid and you only have access to like 2-3 TV channels, and there's Saturday morning cartoons, in a world where that's at, Willy Wonka was like amazing. Tom Smith, if you've been around, I'm sorry I haven't caught you, so I appreciate you being here tonight. Thanks for your comment. You say FSU threatening to go independent is about tying up their media payouts in court. If FSU can block ESPN payout to the ACC for their home games, basically tying up revenue for the entire conference, that may be the strategy, Tom, but I would say, to what end? Why? I mean, that may be what they're doing, but the motivation still to me is very kludgy. What do you think about that?
Yeah, this is theoretical, and I understand where, yes, it's theoretically a possibility, but I just don't think it's a very high possibility. And just because something exists in theory doesn't mean it exists in practice.
Yeah, I mean, we want to be fair. That may be the strategy. We're not saying anything against it. It's just, I'm still, the legal strategy is what I'm trying to, just because they tie up their stuff in court, how does that help them? It just adds one more thing that's more complex to the whole.
Right. It hurts. I think it hurts the AC. It's more about hurting the ACC than necessarily helping themselves.
Right. I got you. Okay. I just posted the link again. We got about 20 minutes. If you want to join the show, come on and give us a comment. We'll talk about whatever you want to in college sports. Let's stick with football if we can. And we're glad everybody's here tonight. This has been a fun show, and we really appreciate everybody showing up and helping us. Let's see here. Oh, I did that one. Sorry. I thought I flagged it. Illini Ted has another one, says there aren't enough independent schools right now to realistically go independent and fill the schedule. Yeah. I don't think.
Yes, for this year. Yeah, it'd be tough. But I mean, next year, people would probably dump some of these G5 schools if they knew they could get a Florida State on their schedule. But again, I don't think any of these conferences are going to be willing to do that because they don't want to get caught up in all this legal stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's really difficult for us to guess, right? Want to be very clear. We're not telling anybody what to think. We're just, doing analysis and trying to bring the news to you guys to discuss it. Nathan Campbell says, Bomber, it'd probably be Amazon because they bought Bally Sports. Okay. Bally Sports. Okay. Did that happen? I didn't see Amazon bought.
Yeah.
Bally.
Yeah. They bought a portion of the Bally RSM.
Okay. I missed that in the news. I didn't see that one for some reason. Buckshot Kid says, will the CW save the ACC once ESPN is done with them?
That's a good possibility. I mean, if ESPN jumps out and the CW wants to really make an investment in college athletics, we know they just signed the deal with Oregon State and Washington State. That could be a fallback for the ACC as it exists without its teams, Florida State, Clemson, etc.
Yeah, I think that the CW is making a play to stay full-time in college football. And because of what happened with the Pac-10 network and where Washington State and Oregon State are, they're talking about reconstituting the Pac-10, 12, 15, whatever they want to make it. And if they just need a partner. Right now, they don't have a partner. But if they could get a CW basically to do all the rights, like they discussed during the Pac-12 media negotiations, the CW was mentioned several times. I think there's some demand there. We might all be eating mud, including me, who's been the biggest supporter for Washington State and Oregon State. We may find out they end up in the best place of everybody. They might end up with the best program and make that they're the most profitable because they keep their overhead down. That's very possible. They just need leadership. So, anyways, good comment, Buckshot. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Scott K. Stater in Florida says ACC underdogs killing it in the tourney. It's true. The ACC is doing very well, and the Big 12 has not, and maybe out tonight. We'll have to find out. Dan Miter says the Big 12 with all these teams could sell their tier 2 and 3 rights to CBS, True TV, Paramount, and pick up revenue. Yormark has connections.
Right, but he's already sold those rights.
Yeah, those rights are gone until 2030, 2031, I think.
They're on ESPN Plus, I think, for the most part.
The ESPN Plus, obviously ESPN ABC,
networks,
and Fox.
Yeah.
Fox Sports Networks, the whole bit. But I think it's about all you can do at this point. Just get something that makes you steady and then plan for the future. Anyways, Dan, thank you very much for the comment. Let's see here. There was one here from Ryan. Here it is. I miss the 80s. I miss the 80s too. Ronald Reagan.
So do I.
Cold War, low taxes.
I miss the 80s. I miss the 90s. I miss them both.
I don't know about the 90s so much, but the 80s.
Oh, the 90s were awesome.
90,
were
well,
awesome.
you're like 12 years younger than me, so maybe that makes sense. All right, here we go. Let's see. We got, great comments tonight, guys. We really, really appreciate everybody participating. Coy says, I bet somehow the Big does something with Netflix. Don't know in what capacity though. What do you think about that? Would they go off board, the Big Ten? Would they do something on the edge?
They don't necessarily even have to do games. I mean, part of Notre Dame's deal with NBC is they're doing a reality show documentary following Notre Dame.
Right.
Football. That's part of the deal for Peacock. So, I mean, it's possible that the Big Ten could do something along those lines. A year or a season with, kind of like the HBO Hard Knocks show.
Yep.
Which they've done before on the Big Ten Network. A season with, and they follow along a season with like Wisconsin or
Amazon's done that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a show name for it. They pick a school like they did Michigan 2 years ago, for instance. Right. Yeah. They do it for all leagues too. They do it with European soccer. They do it in the NBA. Well, actually, I'm not sure about the NBA. They've done it obviously with Deion Sanders did it with Colorado and Jackson State. There's a lot there. You're right. There is. Timothy Green says, this has been a wonderful show as always. Thank you for all you do. Always great content. Please like and share and subscribe. Thank you very much. Timothy Green, I just want to thank you for all you do for us. You have been amazing since you came into the community, and we really appreciate your representation. Thank you so much. And thanks for being here tonight specifically. Here's one for you, Moen. This is what makes Ryan Willie the evil badger. That's from Jamie Thornton. We need to get let's see here. I'm not sure. Yeah, I didn't say you were leaving, Ryan. Sorry. If I'm not sure what that comment's for, but no, I don't think you're going anywhere.
Just go enjoy some baseball.
Yeah, baseball. That's right. Enjoy baseball. Let's see here. Oh gosh. There's been so many trying to get through. All of them has been difficult. Joey Z member says, picking out a tie for my niece's wedding, gifting the groom a handle of Crown Apple Mafia whiskey bottle.
That's a good man to gift that Crown Apple. Get as much of it off the shelf space as possible, please. They got blackberry Crown Royal now. I was at the liquor store the other day.
Nothing surprises me. Nothing
sold out anymore. We don't have any more of the blackberry, and I said, thank
God. Nathan Campbell says, Bomber, the Big 12 would add Amazon Texas teams. What's Oklahoma State, the Kansas 2 teams, and the 4 ads? How did the Pac-12 dim CBS should come in with all your East Coast and Georgia Tech? Can you help me with that, Moen?
Yeah, the Big 12 would add Amazon, Texas teams, Oklahoma State, Kansas 2 teams, and the 4 ads. I'm not sure what he's saying about CBS.
Okay,
I think he's saying they're going to split. The West Coast teams would go with the Amazon, and the East Coast teams would go with CBS.
Okay.
Sports.
I saw that even though I grabbed it, he deleted the message, so maybe he wasn't speaking as clear as he wanted to. So
Yeah.
come back with something more clear, Nathan. I'll be sure to bring it up. Let's see here. This is not a shocker. Quinnipiac beats Wisconsin in overtime.
Oh.
BYU lost to Charlemagne, or whatever it was. Yeah, I don't know. This year's basketball tournament, nobody has a perfect.
Oh, that's not basketball. That's hockey.
Oh, that's hockey. Okay, I apologize.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that good or bad for?
Quinnipiac's a pretty big power in men's hockey.
I take it back then. I thought we were talking basketball. Let's see. Here's a good one we tagged earlier. TF Williams says the FSU going independent makes sense if they get all the Magnificent Seven and a blue of
I think
others.
that's supposed to be a few
of others to void the conference, and they all play the existing 2024 schedule. You're talking about the 8 schools, right? Together, Florida State and the Magnificent Seven. So that would be total 7 schools. 7 schools won't blow up the conference, so that strategy doesn't really work. It does give you games to play, but you got to realize people are planning travel. Schools have budgets. It is almost impossible to get same year games added. I just, yeah. I don't know. TF Williams, you want to come on the show? I'll post the link. You come on, explain to us how you think FSU basically blowing up their media package and going independent would work. I'd love to have somebody explain it to me because I still can't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Let me put this down here. Here's the link. If you want to join, that goes for anybody. We got 10 minutes. Be happy to talk about whatever you want to. Mr. Ed Wayner, good to have you here, Ed. Let's see. At what point do you see UNC filing a lawsuit against the ACC to exit the ACC? Moen?
As soon as that judge makes that ruling. As soon as that happens, that's all UNC is waiting for, to see what holds up, what doesn't hold up. Is it going to be held in North Carolina? Is it going to be held in Florida? I mean, I think they're sitting back. They're interested observers. They're interested observers, but they have every intent of trying to get out and getting out without North Carolina State attached to them.
And UNC, because they are the king of that conference, everything's built in North Carolina. If they were to leave, the conference would shatter like glass. So that's really what everybody should be looking for. If for some reason North Carolina leaves before there's a ruling, they sue the ACC, you might as well book your flights to Big 12 schools, because that would destroy the conference.
I think it would fundamentally wound the conference, but I think it could survive with that payout money.
Very fair. We'll have to see. Time will tell, I guess. Nathan Campbell, this is the cleaned up comment. Do you want to take this, Moen? I want to make sure we get it right.
Yeah, I think he's saying that you could get Amazon and CBS as new TV media partners by giving the Amazon to the West Coast and Georgia Tech and the CBS, the Eastern programs to CBS.
Okay. Anything is possible with these new streamers. It's just right now all the conferences are locked in media deals. Something fundamental would have to change to add more broadcasters. But one strategy would be, and I'm sure Gomark's thought about it, is if the ACC does really start to implode a little bit, I don't even care if this conference stays around or not, the key schools leave, and the Big 12 gets 4 schools, which would be a huge number. To bring 4 in is a massive number for a conference.
Mm-hmm.
That would add more bandwidth, and there is a possibility they could bring in a third partner. That's a lot of games that they're adding to their. But of course, ESPN and Fox would have to. They'd have the first right. They'd have the right of first refusal, right? They'd have to say no. You guys have to get somebody else to cover these games. That would be a good question for Brett Yormark. Let's see. King Spleen says, "Did you know the ACC has scheduled FSU to play Georgia Tech in Atlanta once?" Let's see. Did you know the ACC has scheduled once since 2009 with no future scheduled games there? ATL is a huge home of FSU's fan base, and Georgia Tech is their closest conference opponent. Okay, Moen, here's your moment. Tell everybody why Georgia Tech could be the travel partner for Florida State.
Well, I just said it. Atlanta market, close to Florida State. Huge travel hub in Atlanta too. Huge airport. So that's what would make Georgia Tech desirable. Now, we don't think that's really going to happen. There was a time long ago in days of yore where we believed Georgia Tech was a legitimate contender, but those days have slipped.
Right.
And we now believe that Miami would be the travel partner for Florida State to the Big Ten.
Yep, I agree completely. Boy, I'm getting a lot of feedback from people that have been on the show tonight. We appreciate everybody being here. I think we're going to wrap it up now. At the end of the day, everybody, keep your comments coming to us. Follow us on Twitter. Make sure that you're watching each of us when we're doing our messaging on Twitter, because that actually dictates where we go with our stories on our shows. Moen, you're too close to the camera. Let me back you
I
up.
know.
There you go. That's better.
Thank you.
Want to thank everybody for being here. The guests that have joined the show. Ute, obviously, he had to leave early, but appreciate everybody being here. It's been a fun 2 hours. I want to thank Moen in particular because he's kind of wounded duck. And Moen, why don't you tell everybody what you're going to be doing the next little bit?
Sunday, Moen After Dark, 8 p.m. Join me. We'll talk some stuff. I've got some rants on Notre Dame. I got Moen rants on the members section too. There'll be a new one of those coming out very shortly about Matt Bavakwa at Notre Dame.
Notre Dame AD replaced the legendary Jack Swarbrick. I can't wait for that. It's no doubt about it. Buckshot Kid says, "Take care, Bomber and Moen." Thank you very much, Buckshot Kid. We're getting all these people saying, "Good show." Hit the like button. Kingsplane, good show. I'll get here on time next time. I really appreciate that very much. And everybody have a great night. If you've been drinking, please don't drive. Make sure you're following us and messaging us on Twitter. That's the other thing is if you have story ideas or things that you think we ought to be covering, send us a DM on Twitter. Our names and Twitter addresses are under our pictures right here. Let us know what you want us to follow, right? It's not us that's driving this. It's usually the news and then people giving us story ideas.
Yeah, cool YouTube videos. I loved it. I love that YouTube video. I should probably thank the person who sent that to me. Hold on, Bomber.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Caleb Ramirez sent me the one, and Mr. Doug sent me the one with the recruiting versus NFL success. So thank you, Mr. Doug. Thank you, Caleb Ramirez, for sending those videos.
And you know what? We are a growing community. We're going to have we have a lot more contributors that are joining us. We're doing more shows. We're doing more specials. So get involved in the community. We do have a Discord server that's coming. Buckshot Kid mentioned it earlier in the show. As soon as I have the security on that working the way I want it to, we will produce that. I'll put it out on Twitter, so watch for that. And claim that address and come in and join the conversation on Discord. I'm excited about that. All right. Other than that, I think we're going to go. Everybody have a great night, good weekend. Stay out of trouble, and please travel safely. We'll see you later. Peace out.